It's the final Kallax square. That doesn't really work. But, yep, number 48. We are nearly done. 2 top shelf items to go over, just as a brief, like, oh, what's on the top of the shelves? But this is it. The last square in my 48 square size, 200 and something odd plus games collection. And it's a jack of all trades. I mean, we've got level 99, we've got WizKids, we've got Wolf Designer, and Hans and Gluck again. In fact, hang on. Oh no, that's Hutch and Friends. Now, this one's a Hans and Gluck, so I don't think I've got any more of those on my shelf, but maybe it was space was limited, who knows. And, you know, there are 1 or 2 games that are trying to fight for a place in the collection as well. Like, I've got a copy of Tang Garden recently I need to play. I've got a copy of Francis Drake I need to play again. You know, I bought it cheap on a sale, basically a closing down sale, and I haven't had a chance to get it to the table again. And, you know, will that fit in the collection? Who knows? But let's get on with the final square. 4 games, and very different games. So, let's start off with Arden the Consortium. This thing is heavy in my hand, actually, heavier than I thought it was, and that's probably because I have got the expansion in here, and there's a ton of stuff in this game already. It is already quite a substantial amount. In fact, what is in here? Blimey. Have I got an insert in here as well? No, I think I've just packed it to the brim with pieces. I've even pimped this out a little bit, actually. I've replaced some of the point crystals and stuff like that. I've got, oh, that's where maybe the viticulture money went. Oh, yeah, I've got viticulture metal coins in here as well. But, yeah. Arden the Consortium. Now, I have not played this in a while, and that is the fault of my friends who keep playing it with the 4 of them and then never letting me get a way in. And if you think that is diabolical of them, then I suggest you send your hate mail to Southampton on board at... Nah, don't worry. But with this one, it's basically Harry Potter meets... it is kind of like just a Harry Potter setting in a sense. You are a dean in this university, and the main professor has gone missing. Whatever, who cares? So you're now competing with everybody else to be the leader of this university, Hogwarts, basically. But there's a council of members who vote on who becomes the new leader, and they have a specific set of criteria, one for each member, that they assess you on. The catch is, you don't know what that victory condition is. So this is a really cool twist on the whole victory point thing, because yes, whoever has the most votes wins, but it's not just straight up moving along a track. It's much more fluid than that. Because in here, you've got all these different rooms, you've got mages of different colours, which have different special abilities when you play them out, like one zaps another wizard, one's immune to damage, one gets to do something faster than other players, and you're placing them worker placement style on these locations to get bonuses and trigger various actions. But the higher, or the quicker you go there, the better the bonus, but there's ways to shift past other people. But then on top of that, you've got items that you can collect, you've got supporters you can grab for bonuses, you can get spells which you can cast, use these actions to cast weird spells like, you know, tornado, shut down a room, go fireball this other player, time warp to another turn. It's like, there's all sorts of weird, crazy stuff you can do in there, and it's complex. It's a pretty complex, heavy game by, you know, level 99. It's one of their usual styles. But when it comes to theme, it's one of the most thematic games out there. You know, magic dean professors, magic teachers fighting for the leadership of a Hogwarts-style university by messing around with spells and mages and mana and magic items. It is so well represented. It's got the expansion in here, which adds a bit of complication to it, but it adds much more variation as well. So it's just like, cool, more of the good stuff. But I love that endgame condition. Because let's say there might be like 5 members, and one of them wants the person with the most mana. One wants the one with the most green supporters, different classes, different magic schools. One wants the most magic items. One wants the most spells learnt. One wants the highest number wizard, whatever. You know, they've all got different criteria. And so you don't know what they are at the start of the game. You have to spend actions during the game to flip them over and find out what they are. So you have information that the opponents may not. But then you obviously can't sort of go, oh, he wants mana, okay. Mana. No, it's because you reveal to everybody else that one is, oh, that teacher wants the most mana. And now they know that they don't need to look at it, or they can avoid it and not care, because you won't necessarily have every single dean in the game. And it's just such a cool system. I mean, do you play where you kind of guess what every teacher wants, just so you can have more actions for the bonuses? Or do you spend the time to find out as much information as you can even though you might not necessarily be doing enough actions. And of course, you can figure out what some of them are as you look at the behavior of other players. This is very, it is a complex game, but it is highly thematic, it is huge fun, and it is incredibly interactive. I mean, this is quite a mean game. One of the meaner games in my collection, actually. But this one, I think because the theme is so strong, the meanness works for me in this. You give me a train game and it's super mean, I could not care less about the train thing, and I'll be annoyed that it's super mean. Here, though, whatever. It's Hogwarts magic. It's fun. Like it. And I wish I could get it to the table more often. Righty, Lords of Waterdeep. Another heavy one. Blimey, why do I put my heavy stuff down at the very bottom? But this one, I think I've improved this with an insert. It's got various bits and bobs there, but yeah, there is I think a broken token insert in there. This is fully kitted out with the expansion, fully sleeved, and I have not played this in donkey's ages. I really need to get this back to the table. Some people are like, and do I dare tip it up? Hopefully you can see pretty much the back of the box on that. I gotta be careful though, because if I tip this upside down, it's really gonna go nasty. But Lords of Waterdeep. This is still a good fun worker placement game, people. I mean, this is one of those ones that it's popular for people to hate on. But yeah, the base set is very simple. It's like an introductory worker placement game. Well, great, a D&D themed-ish worker placement game, why not? But I have the expansion in here, and I pretty much only play it with the expansion. But it adds more spaces to go to, it has that corruption mechanic I love, where you can do better actions, but you've got the negative points, a bit like the Pearls and Abyss. And it's just, like I say, it's a very streamlined, simple worker placement game with a theme that kind of works. I mean, the quests have things like free the clerics. Okay, so some warriors and rogues, I need those, right, cool. And then you get a bunch of clerics as the reward. So they do have some thematic connections. But yeah, you don't have to know anything about D&D to play this game, really. It could have been re-themed to anything else. But it's a solid game, and it's still popular among a lot of people. I'm surprised it appears high in people's choices, to be honest, because I can't remember the last time I saw this played until 2 or 3 conventions ago. But I really want to get this to the table again, and I wonder if there's a tabletop simulator mod for this. That'd be quite cool. But even then, problem is, most of the people I know are stuck on Board Game Arena, which doesn't help. But this is still a solid worker placement. I really like it, and so do a lot of people. Don't, hate on it just yet. Right. Which one's going to get the honour of being the last one? Probably let's go in order. Warpgate. I did a review of this end of last year, I believe, or start of January, and this is a game by Wolf Designer, Wolf Designer, I think that's how you pronounce it. And Warpgate is kind of my answer to a streamlined space free/X game. Now, Empires of the Void 2 is my favourite space game, but that one is a bit more involved, there's more theme in it, it's certainly got more involvement. So that's probably like the heaviest of space games that I want to play. This is quite light though, and Paul Grogan's done teaching videos on it, and he's helped with the rulebook, so it's easy to learn, and it's not a difficult game to learn anyway. But in this, you start off in a corner and you conquer planets to get more technologies and such, fight other people off and control areas for VP. So it's quite a streamlined sense of what you're doing. But the cool thing with this, and they've used the same mechanic in their other games, particularly Guards of Atlantis 2, which did I do a preview of that? I think I did. I think I did a preview. Yes, I did a preview in May for Guards of Atlantis 2. You can check that out. But it uses a similar board system where you have a player board in front of you with 4 slots, and you have these cards with all the different actions you can do, and there's a good amount of them, like 6 to 8 actions. And what happens is that they're dual action, so it's multi-choice again, so multi-use cards, and you've got a lot of them. It's like, oh, which ones do I do? But what you do is you simultaneously play them face down on your first spot, and then they resolve. Then you do the same again for your second one and third and fourth, so you've got to plan out the rest of the round. But on top of that, the 1, 2, 8, 3, and 4x that's written on the board dictates how powerful the action is. So the earlier you do an action, the less powerful it is. But if you're willing to leave it till later, it's super powerful. But maybe you need something to happen beforehand. The game state might change by then. So you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, what am I going to do? And of course, the actions on the cards, it's like, I need this movement action, but I'm losing a tech action at the same time. It's like, there's a lot of turn angst in this. Now, one flaw, it's it's not a long game per se, but if you get people who AP like crazy or try to overthink things, then this is going to take longer than the time on the box. And to be honest, the time on the box, I believe, says like 20 minutes a player or something, which, yeah, pretty much 20 minutes a player. I don't know. I suppose that's kind of half true, but you need to be familiar with the game. And certainly this can go up to 2 hours with a full count of players if people are taking their sweet time. But it's a really cool system, and not a lot of people have played this. They usually appear at Essen and other conventions, and they were kind enough to give me a review copy, but I was tempted to get it anyway because I was like, ooh, interesting. Sam Healy really liked it. I wanted to find out more. But honestly, give Warpgate a try if you're into these kind of Space 4X games and you want a simplified version of one that still gives you a good amount of crunch. Yes, it's not full-on 4X. You don't explore anything, but you do exploit areas. You do technically exterminate other players, and what's the other one? And you do expand. So yeah, it does do 3X if nothing else. And last, but not least, for the square segment of this series, the Palaces of Carrara, or the Palesti von Carrara. I have no idea if that was a correct pronunciation, but whatever. This is the German version with English rules printed in it for a pretty much language-independent game at the end of the day, and maybe that should be a top 10 list I do at some point, language-independent games. But this one is, well, solid proof it's language-independent because it's the German version with British bits in it. Easy. But this is an underrated Euro, and the main reason it's underrated is because it didn't get a lot of distribution. It barely saw its way into England and America, and so it was pretty much a European-only game, and so it's quite hard to get hold of this. But it's, like I say, it doesn't look like much from the back, but it's a streamlined Euro. It's a nice, simple Euro with some crunch. You are trying to get these buildings on your board, and the buildings give you different bonuses depending on which ones you build, and there's a race to see who can build certain amounts first for the cities. But the way the general mechanic works is you have these bricks that you use in order to make the buildings, and there's a rondel, a pricing wheel, shall we say, of these bricks. They get put on, drawn from a bag, they go on the wheel, and depending where they are on the wheel, it affects the price of the bricks. So you are trying to get money in order to get the bricks you need, because the buildings for different colours, like white, yellow, red and that, need specific colours. And so you need the bricks, you need the money, and then you build said buildings, get the bonuses, and you try to fulfill some endgame objectives that will end the game. So there's endgame triggers as opposed to X rounds, which again is something I really like. It's, as I say, doesn't look like much from the back of the box, but this is it's Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling. If you know anything about board games, you know those two are big legendary names when it comes to board game design. So it's just a really nice, simple, streamlined Euro, and it has kind of like, in out of the top 100, out of the collection, I don't know, but it's definitely in my top 100. I still think this is a really solid game that I do like to get out every now and again, and because it's so hard to get hold of, I'm not getting it out of the collection, even if it did fall out of the top 100, because it's like, no, I need it. I'll never see it again. It's like, unless they reprint it, which I'm not aware they're ever planning to. But it really could, actually. I think this, as a new edition, could be a really good seller. You know, yes, it's an older game. I mean, how old is this? Really oldish, I believe. It's, where are we on? 2012. All right, so it's not that old, actually. But you know, solid one. If you manage to find this on a bring and buy sale, for example, or if you are able to find a cheaper German copy of it, give this one a look. On the bring and buy, it will be a steal. Although, don't let anyone try and scalp you for the money, all right? This is not worth the same price as like Chaos of the Old World, you know, out of print version or something. No. Pay a normal price for a good copy of this game, or find a seller who's selling you the German version and print out the English rules, because that's fine. There is nothing in the game that has German text on it, so you should be fine. But yeah, give this one a look if you can. And we're done. Ish. We're done with all the squares. That, my friends, was my entire Kallax square of games, from that room to this room to all the way down to that wall and the very bottom. But there's still 2 more videos to go. I don't know which order I'll do them in. Possibly, actually I have no idea. I'll figure it out later. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to be going over what's on top of these shelves. Now that includes games. It also includes LCGs. It also includes like various ways I pimp out my games. Like I've got Stonemire treasure chests and a few other little bits and bobs in there. But I'm not going to be able to get everything off the shelf and open it up for you because it would take an eternity to do. Not to mention some of this stuff up here is very, very heavy. So we'll have to sort of play it by ear how I'm going to do it. It may just be a description video with maybe some stuff taken off the shelves, but I'm not going to take the entire load of crates down. You don't have to worry about these boxes that I've got up here because they are just there. They're empty boxes for show, basically. Where, you know, in the videos, I like, if I'm showing anywhere at the top, I don't want it to just be cardboard, well, not cardboard, whatever they are, wooden boxes, because that's kind of boring. So yeah, 2 more videos, brings up to 50. To then conclude what has been an unexpectedly popular series, I must admit. So thank you everybody who's supported this series, who's watched it, who's kept up track with it. Don't worry, there's more content to come after this is done. But of course, I need to prep stuff, I need to get stuff recorded, do new intros and things, and I need the time. So we'll be back to a kind of weekly release schedule, maybe with 2 a week, you know, depending on the content. But yeah, I do need to have some spare time to myself. So 2 more videos, and then we're done. Take care, and I'll see you on whichever one I choose on number 49.